What's up, this is Madurik, and in this video I'm going to be breaking down two really tricky turns that are a part of Midnight in Wiami, the racing game from Wilder World. We're going to break down the turns, and I'm going to give you tips on how you can get through them faster so you can improve your lap times and win more races. This was by request from my good friend and fellow Wilder, Belshi Bits, who is a member of the Wilder Racing Academy. Stick around to the end of this video and I'll tell you more about it and how you could also become a member. And with that, let's get into it. All right, so here we are inside the game. We're going to load up the track called Meridian Surge. We're going to do it on solo mode so we can kind of practice and walk through the main turn that we want to work on here. The turn is actually turn number 5. Really tricky turn. It's got a very, very sharp curve to it. So we're going to get up to that turn. We'll take a look at it on the map, and then we'll hit it at full speed, see if we can get a clean pass on it. And then we'll break it down and talk about how we could work on this strategically to get through it as fast as possible. All right, so here we go. We are going to select the Wantide. This is one of my favorite cars to use. It handles probably one of the best out of the group, but we're going to use this car. We're going to get up to the spot and break it down and take a look at the turn on the map. Okay, so we just went around turn number 4. We have pretty much the longest straightaway on any track that leads up to turn number 5. So we're going to be hitting this turn at top speed, which makes it tricky in and of itself. But let's take a look at the way the turn looks, which is right here. So here's turn number 5, and you can see in the map on the bottom left that the angle of this turn is super sharp, okay? It's definitely way more than a 90-degree turn, which makes it super tricky. So what we'll do now is see if we can hit it at full speed, get a good clean pass on it, and then I'm going to break it down and we'll talk about it. Okay, coming around turn number 4, hitting the straightaway. We're going to hit our NOS to get up to full speed, which should be about 170 miles an hour, and we'll see if we can hit a good clean pass on this turn. This one's for you, Belshi. Let's see what we can get. All right, not too bad. So that was pretty much a good clean take. We could have gotten a little bit tighter on the apex there, but let's now break this down and talk about how we could do this strategically so we have something to practice towards. Okay, so we're going to use a simple tool like Microsoft Paint to draw up a scenario and check out a couple options of how we could best approach this corner. So the corner on Meridian is pretty darn aggressive. Now, what we're going to do is just draw the general way that this corner looks, and it's not a 90-degree corner, okay? The straightaway is putting us heading in this direction like that, okay? And then what happens is the actual turn looks something more like this, okay? So we got that part of the turn up there, and then the inside corner is going to be more something like this, relatively speaking, okay? So you can see that we have a very tight turn. It's way more than 90 degrees. So now we have to find a solution as to the best way to get through this, okay? Now, a couple things that we want to think about that we need to keep in consideration. Number one is we always want to hit the apex. It's going to be the shortest distance around the curve. But the thing to ask ourselves is, at what angle do we want to hit the apex? Because we also need to think about what direction is the front of the car pointing in before or while, or I should say at the time that I can get back onto the throttle. Because that's going to dictate the direction my car goes. And if it's too soon and I can't handle the turn, we need to think about that, okay? And obviously, the sooner I can get on the throttle, the quicker I'm going to be around the turn. Okay, so we're starting here. We want to end up over here, okay? So let's take this line and take a look at what happens when we look at the angle that we hit the apex. So if we head towards the apex way early on like this, okay, what you'll see is that the direction of the front of the car when I hit the apex is going to send me right into the wall, all right? So I would need to do an excessive amount of braking and a lot more turning before I can get on to full throttle, which would probably be maybe around here, right? So given this scenario, this isn't going to help me because this direction when hitting the apex, it's not going to point my car at the direction I want to be in to get around the turn fast, okay? So let's look at another scenario. So we're going to take this guy now. Oops. We need this tool here. Okay, so now what happens, let's take a look at if we focus on going more on straight, going for longer, then making the turn here. Okay, now you could see that when I hit the apex around here, the front of my car is pointed in a direction where I could now hit full throttle and manage the rest of the turn. Okay, I might get on full throttle here, but I have plenty of time now and room to stay on full throttle and manage to get right in the best racing line so I could continue through this straightaway, okay? So what I would do here is make sure you stay going straight. Point your car straight on the left-hand side here. Obviously, it's the longest straight of the course. So we're going to be going at top speed. So we do need to think about braking much earlier and for longer, okay? So maybe I start braking at full speed here or full power here. Let off the brake maybe here. And again, you have to play with that. But what you want to practice is the angle that I'm going to hit that apex at, okay? Because the other thing to think about with this line is that even if I come in here, okay, I might be able to get on full throttle around here. However, if I pull this line, oops, let's see if I could go do this again. Now, if we pull this line back more, as you can see, the more I bring it back, the earlier I would be able to get back onto full throttle because I could manage it given the angle that I'm at, okay? So if we're just dealing with the regular brake, the main thing is we want to stay straight, brake, wait, then start turning way more aggressively so that I can make that corner and then get on full power. The other option, which is actually really fun and might even be quicker, is using the handbrake, because the handbrake will induce oversteer. That's going to whip the back of the car around and point the nose in a direction much more aggressively and much more quickly than I can get at with my regular braking scenario that we just talked about. Now, the handbrake slows your car down much more significantly, plus the fact that you're going to be drifting through that corner does soak up a lot of speed. However, because this turn is so aggressive, it's worth trying out because it will get the front of your car pointing in a direction that you could get on full throttle much quicker, okay? So these are going to be the two scenarios that we're going to try out, and they're a lot of fun, and let's see how we do. So let's get back into the track and see what they look like. Okay, so here we are back on Meridian Surge. We're in the Wantide, and we're at the beginning of the straightaway leading up to turn 5, and we're going to get up to speed and talk about and put into play what we discussed with the drawing examples. So the first thing we'll talk about is braking reference. When do I actually brake when I'm going full speed here, okay? So coming up on the turn, what I use for my braking reference is this last set of barricades on the left here, okay? So we have these barricades with the red. When I get to these, that's when I slam on the brakes and full on as hard as I can. And I actually hold them for a while because, again, this is the longest straight and it's one of the tightest turns. So you really need to slow down a lot. Okay, I'm probably holding my brake until the end of that scaffolding, maybe even up until, you know, this area here where we have the booths on the left. So that's what I use for my braking reference. And now let's talk about what we don't want to do, okay? So remember, we do not want to head towards the apex like this, okay? If I'm coming in way too early and I'm pointing towards the apex, where does my car want to go? It wants to go straight into the trees there, okay? That's not going to help me. So make sure, again, that we do not want to start pointing towards this turn or the apex of the turn until the very last second, okay? Because that's what's going to give us the cleanest line to get out of there, all right? So in other words, when I'm coming up here and I'm hitting full speed and I'm done braking, okay, I'm going to come up here, then I'm going to turn and hit it like that so that I could shoot straight out. And with this turn, definitely want to get on the NOS as soon as possible because you've slowed down and lost all your momentum. So that NOS is really crucial to get you back up to speed. So that is the way that we want to take that turn. So let's go back to the beginning of this guy and see if we can get another good clean pass like we started with, using the NOS, using the braking reference, and getting back on the NOS after we get through the turn. Okay, here we go. We're going to come around turn 3, and then there's turn 4, and now we're on our straightaway. So, got our NOS going. We're going to get up to speed, and we'll see if we can hit those braking references and make the turn. So, there we go. That's about full speed. Here comes brake. Let off the brake, turn, back on the NOS. Okay, not bad. You can get a little bit tighter, but that's the general idea, okay? So that is probably one of the best ways to hit that. Now let's take a look at the second method of using the handbrake. Okay, so we're not going to do full speed because we first just want to do a quick practice and see what the handbrake does. Now what I definitely say on this turn is that you do want to do some general regular braking first and then the handbrake. So if I use the regular brake, there we go. You could see how much by hitting that handbrake, and all I did was touch it, okay? And you could see how much it immediately swung the rear end of the car around to give me what we call oversteer. And immediately, that pointed me in the direction I want to go so that I could quickly get back on the throttle, hit the NOS, and get straight. Now, obviously, the handbrake slows you down even more, and because you're drifting, it also slows you down even more. But due to the nature of this turn, it's a viable option. It's a lot of fun, and again, there could be also some other reasons to use it if you're in a race and you can't get an optimal line, because with that handbrake, you could certainly get around it a lot quicker. So let's get back to the beginning of the straightaway. We'll hit it at full speed, and we'll see if we can get a good clean pass using the handbrake. Okay, here we go. We're coming into turn 3, and then we'll get around turn 4 and get back on our NOS. And let's get to it. By the way, my handbrake is actually on my clutch pedal right next to my brake, so I can move my foot from one to the other real quick, and we just need to hit it lightly. So we're up to speed, and let's see what we can do here. So, full brake, quick touch, and get back on the NOS. There we go. So that's how something like that works, looking at using the handbrake. Again, you could assign the handbrake to a button on your controller or whatever you have, but it's really fun. It's worth testing out, and you can see how quickly it brings the rear end of your car around in a situation like that. So there's 2 different methods to try out. Have fun, but let's take a look at one other turn that is similar to this in nature. Okay, for the second example, we are on the track called Lunar Lane. We're going to be still using the same card, the Wantide. So this is actually going to be turn number 8. All right, and if we come up on it, again, looking at the map, so I'm coming up on turn 7 right here, and so the next turn is going to be another super tricky turn. And if we look at it and our map on the bottom left, okay, we could see it's the same exact setup, all right? We have a straight, and then we have a super tight turn that is way more than a 90-degree turn, okay? The only difference here is that the straight leading up to this is not obviously as long. However, going into turn 7, I can pretty much go full throttle. And after hitting the NOS, I'm going pretty darn quick. And because it's not a long straightaway, you have to be quicker in getting set up for this turn. But it's the same idea. What I'm going to focus on is braking hard around where this blue sign is, or this blue door is on the right. That's kind of my braking reference, all right? So we're going to hit that guy. Full brake, probably a little bit sooner actually. But again, coming around this, again, if I'm here, what do I not want to do? I do not want to head towards this apex like this from far back, okay? Coming at it this way is going to shoot me straight into this curb right here and hit the wall. So what do I want to do? I want to stay to the right as long as I can. I want to get to the right immediately after coming off of this turn. Okay, so I'm coming to the right here, riding this curb, hit my braking reference, brake, turn quickly, and then come around so I can hit this, and again, kind of gradually get back into the straight. So let's take a look at what this looks like at full speed. Okay, so we're coming into turn 6 right here. use some NOS to get up to speed. We got turn 7. I'm going to turn at this sign right here. Get back on my NOS. Get right in place and brake hard. Turn. Get back on the NOS. Okay, again, miss the apex a little bit, but that's the idea, okay? Going straight as long as we can. Brake, and when we know that we can make the turn, turn hard. Get the turn done and then get right back on the throttle, okay? So let's try that now with using the handbrake method. Same idea, brake first, but then just tap the handbrake and make sure that we got the wheel turned a little bit and see if we could swing the rear end around to point the car in the direction we want to go. Okay, so here we go. We're coming up in turn number 6. We got our sign coming up here on the right. That's going to be our turning landmark. Hit some NOS. All right. Brake, handbrake, and hit the NOS. So something like that. Again, it's very tricky to hit the apex when you're trying to use a handbrake, but again, it doesn't need to be as perfect there, but because the car's going to sway, but you can see the technique. So something fun to try out. Give it a try. Hope it helps, and we'll see you soon. If you like this video and you want to show some support, you could join the Wilder Racing Academy for exclusive benefits, additional content, and interact with other members to ask questions, share tips, and much more. The Wilder Racing Academy uses the Zero Name Service Protocol, which is a social media platform utilizing Web3 technology to provide a token-gated community for its members. To learn more about ZNS, visit zero.tech/worlds. So now I'm going to walk you through how to join the Wilder Racing Academy by registering your own member ID using the Zero Name Service. First off, go to explorer.zero.tech. You're going to connect this service to your Web3 wallet. I'm going to use MetaMask. Next, you'll need a total of 265 Meow tokens plus some ETH to pay for gas fees. We can get the Meow tokens on Uniswap. To make sure you get to the right place, just click the link in the right-hand menu for Buy Meow. You can use a number of different currencies to swap for Meow. I'm going to use some ETH. Select our token that we want to swap with, and then select the amount of Meow tokens you want. So we're going to put in 265. At the time of this video, Meow is around 3 cents, so it's just a little over $8. We're going to go ahead and swap this and approve and confirm. All right, now that we have our Meow tokens, we could register our ID. We're going to go to the ID box and look for Wilder Racing Academy. And we're going to click on View World. Next, click the link for Join World and then type in the member ID you want to use. I also wanted to point out that this is a one-time fee and there are no renewal fees. Plus, you could refund it at any time if you want to cancel. So I'm going to go ahead and click Mint Domain. Click Confirm. And now we'll need to approve 2 transactions. First, we need to approve the token spending. The domain price is $250, the stake fee is $555, and the protocol fee is $943 for a total of 264 Meow tokens. So we'll go ahead and approve spending. And finally, we're going to mint our domain. Click Mint Domain, approve the transaction in your Web3 wallet, and keep in mind that gas fees will vary depending on when you register. And that's it. You're now a member and can keep up to date with the community using the Zero Messenger app. You can learn more about that at zero.tech/messenger. We look forward to seeing you as the newest member and thank you for your support.